Have you ever felt exhausted, frustrated, and overwhelmed by the traditional way of learning English? The long hours spent forcing yourself to memorize vocabulary, drilling grammar rules, and speaking under constant pressure? I've been there too. The guilt when you skip a study session, the frustration when you can't remember what you learned, and the disappointment when progress feels like it's crawling at a snail's pace. But here's the secret I discovered. Learning doesn't have to be a constant battle filled with stress and rigid discipline. The philosophy I want to share with you today is called the philosophy of sleep learning. It might sound like magic or a fantasy, but in reality, it's the key to learning English in a natural, gentle, and far more effective way than you ever imagined. I'm not saying you can just sleep and magically become fluent, but it's about learning how to combine your conscious study with the incredible power of sleep, letting your brain absorb knowledge more deeply. This is a journey, not a forced routine. It's about understanding and working with your body and mind, not against them. Imagine how a child learns to speak. They don't sit down with flashcards or grammar exercises. They don't take tests or follow strict schedules. Instead, they naturally soak up language by listening to those around them, imitating sounds, and repeating words without any pressure or force. Gradually, those words seep into their subconscious and become a natural part of their thinking and daily life. This natural way of language learning is exactly the heart of the philosophy of sleep learning I want you to discover. During sleep, our brain is still very active. It doesn't just rest. It processes and consolidates all the information and experiences gathered throughout the day. The magic lies in knowing how to use this process to turn every night's sleep into a powerful information filter, helping you remember vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation without fatigue or pressure. Instead of struggling to learn while awake and tense, you learn by soaking in knowledge subconsciously, effortlessly. You might wonder, is this really possible? How can learning while sleeping be effective? The answer isn't about passively listening to English lessons while asleep, but about creating a daily habit of exposure to English, making it part of your life, and then letting your sleep do the rest. It's a beautiful balance between conscious effort and subconscious absorption, day and night, effort and relaxation, all blending into a fresh, profound, and inspiring philosophy of learning. Learning English is no longer a long, stressful grind. It becomes a journey of self-discovery, a natural process as effortless as breathing every day. This is the moment to leave behind rigid discipline, invisible pressure, and unnecessary guilt. Instead, learn to listen to your body, know when to push and when to rest, allowing knowledge to gradually sink in and grow in a magical way. And remember, all of this is wrapped up in the philosophy of sleep learning, a learning philosophy that lets you enjoy life while steadily and gently expanding your English skills without exhaustion. Are you ready to uncover this secret and start a completely new journey of learning English? Let's step into a natural learning world where every sleep is not just rest, but an opportunity for you to make incredible progress without force. Have you ever wondered about the mysterious power of sleep? It's not just a simple time for your body to rest, but a magical journey where your brain never stops working and regenerating. When you fall into deep sleep, your brain begins the process of reorganizing all the information you have absorbed during the day, creating new connections, new memories, and most importantly, new skills that you don't even realize. This is nature's own laboratory, where knowledge is nurtured and developed quietly, silently, but incredibly effectively. The amazing thing is that your brain can absorb English or any other language even while you're asleep. But for this to happen, your mind must be truly relaxed, free from stress and tired thoughts. Only then can your brain open the door to naturally receive sounds and words without being blocked by the barriers of tension or anxiety. Once your mind is free, the sounds you hear will deeply penetrate your subconscious, building a strong foundation for learning without fatigue or pressure. Moreover, combining listening to English during sleep with positive emotions is not just a small trick, but truly a golden key in this learning method. When you feel excited, curious, or joyful about the English sounds you're absorbing, your brain memorizes those experiences more deeply. Emotions act as a powerful bridge, turning sounds from meaningless noise into vivid images, stories, and meanings in your subconscious. As a result, every word you hear carries an emotional imprint, making learning more lively and easier than ever before. Have you ever imagined that fleeting sounds during your sleep could become part of the language you use every day? The secret lies in how your brain works when you get enough sleep. During deep sleep, your brain doesn't just store information. It also marks familiar sounds, turning them into language maps that help you retrieve them easily when needed. This process is like building your language house brick by brick, step by step, creating a strong structure in your mind. This is the miraculous power of learning while sleeping. A method where you can improve day by day without feeling tired or pressured. If you've ever felt exhausted by traditional English learning methods, stressful hours of study, pressure from tests, and self-blame when you fail to meet your goals, then here is an invitation to change. Try a new approach, gentler but deeper. Learn English while you sleep. This is not just a learning technique, but a philosophy of life that helps you harmonize with the natural rhythm of your body and brain. Because in the philosophy of sleep learning, sleep is no longer a mere pause, but a journey that gradually leads you closer to mastering the language naturally and sustainably. Can you imagine that every night when you sleep, your brain is silently building the foundation for your language future? Every English sound you hear then, every melody, every sentence seeps deep into your subconscious, nurturing and developing your language ability in a way you simply can't do during the day. That is the superpower of the philosophy of sleep learning, where learning is no longer a burden but a natural, smooth, and magical process. Have you ever wondered why learning something new feels so difficult when you're stressed? It's not just a feeling in your head. It's actually how your brain reacts to pressure and fear. When you force yourself to study, to remember every detail, to succeed immediately, your brain instinctively shuts the door to new knowledge. It protects itself from the pressure and refuses to accept information that feels unsafe. And the result? You feel stuck, exhausted, and even lose interest in learning. But imagine a different scenario. You gently relax your body, your mind drifts peacefully into sleep, with no pressure weighing on you. In that state, English is no longer a stressful test you have to pass. Instead, it becomes a language of emotions, sweet sounds, and invisible but very real connections in your soul. Every phrase, every vocabulary word is not a challenge, but an experience, a journey to discover yourself and the world. Relaxation and a positive mindset are the golden keys that unlock the magical door to language acquisition. When you're no longer afraid of making mistakes, no longer worried about remembering everything, your brain becomes open and eager to absorb every sound, every rhythm of English. It remembers naturally, as if you're listening to a soothing melody, not a dry lesson. And it is precisely in this calm state that the pieces of language gradually connect into a clear picture in your subconscious. What's special is that when you maintain a positive mindset, you don't just learn English more effectively, you also feel lighter, more energized, and more inspired every day. Learning is no longer a burden, but a joy, an endless source of motivation. And you'll realize that peace within your soul is the solid foundation to conquer any language and any challenge in life. So, are you ready to let go of worries, release tension, and let your brain freely explore English through sleep? That is the first step to embracing the philosophy of sleep learning, a philosophy of learning that is free from rigidity and pressure, and instead is a natural connection between the soul and language. Let every night's sleep be a magical journey, bringing you closer to the dream of speaking English fluently and confidently. In the journey of learning English, many people face immense pressure. They feel they must study relentlessly, memorize every word, and pronounce perfectly. And when they don't meet these expectations, they feel frustrated, discouraged, or even want to give up. But if you shift your mindset, you'll realize that learning English doesn't have to be a constant battle filled with stress. There are ancient philosophies from both the East and West, accumulated over thousands of years, that can help you learn gently, naturally, and deeply without forcing yourself every minute. First, let's look at Taoism, the famous Eastern philosophy with the concept of Wu Wei, which means non-action or effortless action. This principle teaches us to live and act in harmony with nature without forcing or resisting. In the context of learning English, this means you don't have to push yourself to sit for hours trying to mechanically memorize vocabulary or grammar. Instead, let learning flow naturally like water. Just like a clear stream gently flowing through rocks, English knowledge will seep into your mind gradually if you let go of tension and accept it softly. Especially the time before sleep is when your brain is most ready to absorb new information in a relaxed state. When you stop forcing and stop stressing, English gently enters you like a breath, light but lasting. Next, the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi offers a completely different perspective on learning and life, the beauty of imperfection and simplicity. When learning English, you will definitely make mistakes, mispronounce words, forget vocabulary, or hesitate when speaking. And that's perfectly normal. Instead of fearing, feeling inferior, or trying to hide your flaws, learn to accept and cherish them. Wabi-sabi reminds us that no one is perfect, and it is precisely these imperfections that create uniqueness, sincerity, and depth in every learning journey. You don't need to become a perfect learner. Just be yourself, simple, sincere, and persistent. Every mistake, every hesitation is a precious milestone on your English conquest path. Moreover, the Western philosophy of Stoicism offers invaluable lessons on patience and focusing on what you can control. During your English learning, there will be days when your brain seems to not absorb well, when you feel bored, unmotivated, or slow progress. Stoicism teaches us not to waste energy on things beyond our control. Instead, focus on small, consistent actions you can do. For example, listening to a short English podcast every night before sleep. Even if results don't come immediately, that steady perseverance will make a huge difference. These small habits, maintained over time, bring you closer to your English goals sustainably and effortlessly. When you deeply combine these philosophies into your English learning journey, you don't just learn a language, you learn to live more gently and peacefully. English stops being a burden, no longer something to force or fight against daily. Instead, it becomes a natural companion, gradually soaking into your subconscious every night as you sleep, like a breath, a rhythm of life. This is the essence of the philosophy of sleep learning. The philosophy of learning through sleep. Learning naturally without force, helping you progress steadily and keep your passion burning in your English adventure. Learning English is not just about memorizing vocabulary or mastering grammar rules. It is a profound journey, a process of reconnecting with yourself that many of us often overlook. When you begin to break free from the rigid, pressure-filled mindset of forced learning and escape the constant battle with yourself every time you forget a word or don't understand a sentence, you realize that learning English is not a race, but a healing ritual for the soul. It is a time you dedicate to yourself, to be still, to listen to your inner voice, to feel every breath, then every gentle and persistent step forward on your learning path. No more rushing, no more fear of failure or embarrassment when making mistakes. You learn English as if you are giving wings to your soul to soar higher and farther, freer. In this journey, language is no longer a dry tool for communication, but gradually becomes a magical bridge between your heart and the world around you. It is the gentle light that illuminates your dreams, helping you see the hidden corners of your soul more clearly, understand yourself deeply, and connect more profoundly with the people you meet. Every word you learn, every sentence you listen to, is not just a piece of knowledge, but a precious fragment that enriches your inner world, making you more emotional in how you perceive life. English becomes the language of emotions, stories, subtle and humane connections. The most miraculous thing about this learning journey is patience and perseverance, indispensable elements that build a stronger, more confident self day by day. Learning English at this point is no longer a burden, not a forced or stressful task that drains you, but a melodious song of love and persistence, a gift you give yourself on the path to growth. It is the incredible strength that helps you keep your passion alive, overcome all difficulties, and move forward on your personal development journey. Learning English now is not just about speaking a second language, but about living more fully and deeply with yourself and the vast world out there. In this connection, you truly find yourself. Feel the transformation from within, and realize that learning English is learning to love, accept, and grow yourself. Philosophy of learning English, a journey back to yourself. For many people, learning English is a long journey filled with pressure, stress, and a nonstop race against time, scores, and invisible expectations imposed by society. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, does learning English really have to be a race? Can we learn English in a different way, more gently, more naturally, and most importantly, with trust in ourselves? This is the spirit of the philosophy of learning English I want to share with you today. A philosophy that not only helps you learn better, but also helps you find inner peace, joy in every moment of learning, and freedom in every step you take. Learning English is not a race. but a return. When we first start learning English, most of us get caught up in a whirlwind of pressure and strict discipline. I was once like that too. I told myself I had to study a lot, learn fast, never rest, never forget new words. Every time I missed a day, I felt guilty. The pressure weighed me down and drained my motivation and joy. I thought that if I didn't force myself to study hard, I wouldn't improve or succeed. But that very pressure turned learning into a burden, causing me stress, exhaustion, and sometimes the urge to give up. Until one day, I realized that learning English doesn't have to be a race. It's not about running faster than others, memorizing thousands of new words every day, or being flawless without mistakes. Learning English is a journey back to yourself, back to gentleness, trust in your own ability, and the original joy of discovering something new. Like a child hearing their mother's voice for the first time, there's no need to force it, no need to strain. Just feel it, listen, and let everything flow naturally into your soul. The original joy of learning, philosophy of sleep. My philosophy of learning English is closely tied to a special concept I call philosophy of sleep learning. You might think learning while you sleep sounds fanciful, but science has proven that our brains can absorb and process information even when we are resting. When the mind is relaxed, free from pressure, learning becomes as natural as breathing. Sleep is not just a time to rest, but a period when the brain reorganizes, stores, and connects new knowledge. Learning English in a relaxed state, combined with positive emotions, helps us link sounds, intonations, and meanings into the subconscious without feeling stressed or pressured. This is a way of learning without force, but extremely effective. When you gradually accept learning as a natural part of life, you will feel a profound difference. Learning is no longer a chore, but an interesting, gentle, and inspiring journey. The power of relaxation and positive mindset. One of the most important elements in my philosophy of learning English is psychological relaxation. When we are too afraid of making mistakes or too worried about forgetting words or mispronouncing, the brain automatically closes the door to new knowledge. The more we force ourselves, the more stressed we become, the harder learning feels, and the more we lose its naturalness. On the contrary, when we learn in a relaxed state, with a peaceful mind and positive emotions, absorbing English becomes much easier. English at that time is no longer a stressful test, but a language of emotion, sound, and connection. You don't learn to get grades. You learn to feel, to experience, and to love yourself in the process. Lessons from Eastern and Western philosophy. My philosophy of learning English is also inspired by the wisdom of Eastern and Western philosophies, helping you understand a more natural and sustainable way to learn. From Taoism, I learned the principle of wu wei, non-action, learning without forcing, flowing naturally like water. When we don't try to control too much, English will gradually seep into your mind like a gentle breath at night. From the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi, I realized that the beauty of learning lies in imperfection. Mispronouncing words, forgetting vocabulary, or hesitating to speak are not failures, but beautiful and essential parts of the learning journey. You don't have to be perfect. Just be yourself. Sincere, simple, and persistent. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot control. Some days our brains don't absorb well, and sometimes learning slows down. Instead of getting discouraged, focus on small daily actions, like turning on an English podcast every night before sleep and trust in the power of long-term perseverance. Learning English is a journey. Back to yourself. Ultimately, learning English is not just about acquiring a new language, but a journey back to yourself. It's no longer a battle with pressure or stress, but a healing ritual, a slow and sustainable path. When we learn English with this philosophy, language is no longer just a communication tool, but a bridge to the soul, a light illuminating our dreams and deepest desires. You gradually learn to love yourself, accept mistakes, persevere in small steps, and see progress every day. English becomes a gentle companion, a flame that lights your faith and freedom inside. That is my philosophy of learning English, a journey back to gentleness, to trust in yourself, and to the original joy of learning anything, like a child hearing their mother's voice for the first time. The journey of learning English, or anything new in life, is always a path filled with challenges that require patience and relentless perseverance. I deeply understand those moments when you feel tired, discouraged, even tempted to give up. Because I've been there too. I have faced days of self-doubt, moments when it seemed impossible to push forward. But the important thing is that you are here, taking the time to listen to this message, and that alone is a crucial step toward success. You have courageously chosen not to quit, to keep seeking knowledge and growth. From the bottom of my heart, I want to send you a huge encouragement. Believe in yourself because you deserve success and happiness on the path you've chosen. Remember that every step you take, no matter how small, matters. Every day you dedicate to learning English, practicing, immersing yourself in a new language, you are laying the foundation for the future you dream of. Success is not a destination, but a journey, one filled with experiences, lessons, and memorable moments. I want you to also remember that learning English doesn't have to be a burden. You can learn gently, joyfully, even relaxed, just like in the philosophy of sleep learning I shared earlier. Let English be your companion, your friend, not a harsh challenge that exhausts you. When you change your perspective and feelings about learning, you will find greater effectiveness and joy. And this is why I need you, my listeners, my companions, by my side on this journey. This podcast isn't just a place where I share knowledge. It's a community where we learn, motivate, and inspire each other every single day. Every like, every share, every time you hit subscribe is an affirmation that you believe in this journey, believe in yourself, and want to spread these positive values to many others. If you find value in this content, please give me a simple like to let me know I'm on the right track. It's the easiest way to say, I'm with you. When you share this podcast with friends, family, or anyone who wants to learn English, you become the greatest source of inspiration, helping spread positivity and growth throughout our community. That is the power of connection. Subscribing is like a promise between us, a promise that you will keep walking with me, that you won't miss the stories, methods, practical advice, and motivation needed for every step of your progress. Every time you turn on the notification bell, you remind yourself that you are serious about your English goals and determined to keep moving forward. I don't want you to feel pressured to like, share, or subscribe. All of these come from genuine love for this journey. But if you feel inspired, take action today. That action doesn't just help me. It helps you build a positive habit and motivation to keep improving. I also want to emphasize that your English learning journey is not just yours. It belongs to the entire community. In every podcast episode, I aim to create a friendly space where you can share your stories, struggles, and successes. I invite you to join the comments section, share your experiences, or ask questions so we can solve them together. Every story and shared experience enriches all of us on this journey. If you ever feel alone in your learning, remember, you are never truly alone. Here, many are walking alongside you, striving daily, overcoming challenges, and getting closer step by step to their goals. This community is not just about learning English. It's a place to find emotional support, sharing, and endless motivation. You can start with very small steps. Just a few minutes of listening each day, applying one learning tip, or sharing a small story with everyone. That's how you make a difference for yourself and for everyone who shares this path. Finally, I want to remind you that no learning path is easy, and no success happens overnight. But with perseverance, kindness toward yourself, and an open mind, you will move closer every day to your goals. Let your English learning be not only a conquest of language, but a journey of self-discovery, growth, and building a brighter future. I am deeply grateful that you took the time to listen. Please let me know your thoughts by hitting like. Share this to spread these positive values to those who need it most. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode of this amazing journey. Together, we will go further, higher, and stronger. Start right now. Keep going. And believe that every day you learn, you are building a better version of yourself.